Welcome to the Scorezle Podcast, where athletes from college stars to pros share their secrets. We bring you and your child's game the tips, tricks, and insider pointers to level up and unlock the magic within. Today's episode is extra special because we're honored to welcome Nicole Ahsinger, a three-time Olympian, World Cup champion, and a true inspiration in the world of gymnastics. Nicole's journey to the top hasn't been easy. She's faced challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But through it all, she's remained unwavering in her dedication, passion, and belief in herself. Nicole's story is a powerful testament to resilience and the power of perseverance. She has continually proven that with hard work and a strong mindset, you can overcome the odds and reach your goals. Get ready to hear her incredible journey and the wisdom she's gained along the way.
Look, this that Scorezle magic, nothing average. If you can dream it, then you can have it. On and off the field, you know the deal. Keep your head in the game and you rise for real. Go.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Scorezle. Today we have a special guest. Nicole Ahsinger is a three-time Olympic team member. She attended the Rio Olympic Games, placing 15th, and at the Tokyo Olympic Games is where she placed 6th, which was tying her for the highest placement for any American gymnast. And lastly, we just came out of the Paris Olympic Games, and she was an alternate this year for those games. Nicole is a World Cup champion. Nicole's one goal in life is to make sure that the younger generation always believes in themselves, even when times get tough. So welcome, Nicole, on the program. I really have to ask you about the World Championship Games. Like, what was that like, and what are you most proud of at that World Cup?
Oh, a lot. And so I won World Championships last year with my synchro partner. So we did synchronized trampoline, and synchro isn't in the Olympics, but it is at World Championships. And we compete against all of these other countries. And I can say that I love winning, but at the same time, I love winning because I got to do it with my best friend. My synchro partner and I have been best friends for over 10 years. And it's so much cooler to experience that moment with somebody that you love.
Absolutely. And that's so great. And we're going to go through your journey and the friendships, relationships that you built over your career. But you know what? We really need to start back at the age of 3. So we're going to take you back to the age of the 3. Did you really say out loud that you wanted to be an Olympian?
Oh, absolutely. I can't remember, of course. And so it is my mother's word, but I'll take it. She did say that I came home and she was like, I said, I'm going to go to the Olympics, Mom. And she was like, you're a crazy little kid. And, I didn't understand the magnitude of what I was saying. Obviously, it takes a lot more than just a trip to the gymnastics facility and the love for the sport. But, the dream kind of never changed. I always had a different mindset going into trainings and my everyday life that I was going to be an Olympian no matter what.
Now, with that, though, throughout that journey, even that's your mother's story telling you of something that you said at the age of 3, were there any times that you were doubted, and how did you keep that dream alive as you grew up?
Yeah, it's a great question. You can see as a gymnast, we're tiny little children, essentially. The body, you're just so small. And so, I have the big thighs, I have the power, the big muscles. And a lot of people were like, you don't have what it takes, Nicole. It hurt a little bit, but I knew that at the end of the day, it was going to be my choice and it was going to all end up being on me. I was doubted. They told me that there's no way that I was going to be an Olympian, let alone 2-time Olympian, let alone 3-time Olympic team member. No one ever saw that coming, but I always believed in myself, and that's how I got to where I am today.
So we really are firm believers in that. And, thinking about that as we're talking about your youth, did you ever feel scared or nervous before doing an event or a big flip? And if so, how did you make yourself feel brave to power through and be able to fulfill what you needed to fulfill?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm jumping on a trampoline that is 20, 25 feet in the air. That's how high I get. So every day, the older I get, the more scared I get. However, of course, the nerves always hit you when you're at a competition. I am scared, but it's what I do in those moments. I thrive off stress and I thrive off the nerves. My adrenaline just like peaks and I'm better than I ever was. So I kind of fine tune myself into the adrenaline and I just knock it out of the park.
Any tips or advice for someone that's having those feelings or maybe that anxiety or stress of how they can really harness that and leverage it for them to be successful?
Yeah, I think the best tip is to embrace it. If you recognize that you are scared or you're nervous, you're understanding that you're in a position where, okay, I know what I need to do. I know I'm feeling these feelings, but am I going to let it stop me or am I going to let it help me? And I always tell myself like, all right, let's get this going and let's knock it out of the park.
All right, Nicole, this next question really hits home for me because I got 3 kiddos and sometimes getting them to practice every single day or every other day can be a challenge. And you dedicated yourself to a craft at a young age, and that takes sacrifice. So at that age, did you ever want to skip practice? And if so, what kept you motivated to persevere through that?
So I think that's an interesting question because when I was younger, I never wanted to skip practice. My parents always begged me. They were like, please, Nicole, like we want to go on this boating trip or we want to go to Disneyland because I'm from California. And I was like, nope, Mom, I can't skip. Like if I want to go to the Olympic Games, I have to go to practice. And now as you get older, there's so many different circumstances. Do I want to go hang out with my friends? That there's a party, So it's been a lot more difficult to keep myself motivated as I get older. But at a young age, my mom was a gymnast, my dad was a baseball player, and they weren't at the same level as I would call myself, but they still had that sports aspect mindset. And so they always told me, they were like, if you want to be the best, then you have to apply yourself 100%. And I know I did all these other sports and I loved everything. However, my mom was like, you can't do everything. You can't be good at everything, which you can. But at some point in your life, you do have to sit down and make that choice. And I think I was 12 years old where I decided this is going to be my full-time job.
That's incredible. Such commitment, such passion. Nicole, I'd love to fast forward to your first time as an Olympian. How exciting that must be. You've worked your entire life to get there. And you were just 18 years old when you first competed. And the average age was around 35. And here you are, brand new, passionate, 18 years old, new to this experience. How did you tap into that inner strength, that inner magic to perform at your best, especially with so much at stake?
Yeah. Just you talking about it's still kind of mind blowing. Because I'm only 26. So the average age is still roughly 35. And now I'm 26 years old, been to 3. Doesn't really make sense to me. When I was 18 and I did make that first Olympic Games, I was always slated for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. So when I made the 2016 Olympic Games, everyone was kind of shocked and I was definitely shocked. But it was the best experience because I had, as much as you can say that you have everything at stake and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm at the biggest stage. It was the most fun I've ever had in my whole life because I'm a baby in the sense of trampoline. I was in Rio, which I had never gone to Rio before. My parents came. you show up to this facility where you just get handed all this gear and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm at the Olympic Games. And I just made the most out of it. I met Michael Phelps. I met Serena Williams. I was trying to run around and just meet as many people as I could because you tell yourself you're only supposed to go to the Olympic Games once. So I was trying to make the most of it. And that competition was by far the most fun I've ever had.
I have to jump in. I'm curious. So here you are. You met Michael Phelps, Serena Williams. What did that feel like? That must have been so exciting.
Oh, it was incredible. My Michael Phelps encounter, we were in the elevator going up to like our room. And there's this really tall man behind me. You know, you're trying not to stare, but I'm like making little side eyes. And I finally look at him and I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, hello, how are you? He's like, what sport do you do? And I'm like, oh my gosh, Michael Phelps asked me what sport I do. And so I was like, I do trampoline gymnastics. And then I said, I would ask you what sport you do, but then I'd be dumb. And he's like, yeah, swimming. And then I got off the elevator, called my mom immediately. I'm like, I just met Michael Phelps. It was the best day. And I still remember it. Such an awesome experience.
That's so good. So you're in that moment in the Olympics in Rio and you're taking it all in. I'm still going back to when you were growing up and just training, right? So you're training twice a day, 6 days a week, whatever that schedule looked like for you. And you made a comment earlier, again, you had to balance personal time versus all that training. So what advice do you have like for athletes that are young athletes that are facing that and they have to juggle sports, then they have their schoolwork and their personal times with their friends or going out? Like any advice for the young athletes that are also facing that now?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's hard because I feel like I was that athlete that all or nothing. Because I moved at 16 years old to Louisiana where I lived by myself and without my family. But I guess that one key advice is just make everything, if it's a priority to you, then you will make sure that it matters. And you'll put in that extra motivation and that extra strength. Because at the end of the day, school is important. And it took me a really long time to understand that. But here I am getting my master's. So I do think that school is so important and you can't give up on that, but also enjoying every moment within your sport. Because at some point you may be thinking to yourself, do I still love it? And maybe you don't still love it. But as long as you keep having fun and enjoying those special moments and you don't quit on the days that are tough, then I think that's the most important part of all that.
That's great insight, Nicole. Now, what about switching gears a little bit of the parents of youth athletes, helping them try to juggle the social life, academics, sports, practice, being responsible around the house? Any tips or insights as to when to push, when not to push, really just helping them manage their calendars and juggling all of that?
Yeah. So I'm lucky. I'm an only child. So my parents' one goal in life was to make sure that I got to practice on time, basically. So they didn't have that other child to juggle around or bring them to my competitions. So I guess I got lucky in that sense. However, I had a really good balance between my parents. My mom was kind of the one that pushed. Since she knew about gymnastics, she learned everything about my sport. She did coach me for a tiny second. That didn't work out. But, she learned everything she needed to know about trampoline so that I could come home and I could talk to her about all the things that were upsetting me that day. And then I had my dad on the other side where, he knows trampoline and he tries his best, but he's more of that one where he's like, man, that girl was so rude, huh? Just always being that positive. So I have my mother who's the intricate, going into detail, and then my dad who's yeah, he wants some ice cream. So I think that that's a great balance between parents, because having two that with the heavy hitting it would be hard.
So I have a question around sportsmanship. So here at Scorezle, we talk about teamwork, building teamwork, sportsmanship. Educate me, especially around as a gymnast. I feel like you put so much into the craft. It's so competitive at like an individual level. And if somebody beats you, how do you come off that podium or off the trampoline and congratulate others and have good sportsmanship within your sport?
Yeah, it's taken me a really long time to be the better person, the bigger person, I guess. Because when I was younger, when somebody beat me, I'm mad. But I think that now I wouldn't take it out on anybody, but inner self, I was mad. And I think that actually pushed me more instead of like forgiving and being like, oh, I'll get him next time. My mom always told me, she was like, if you want to win, you'll work harder. And so I think that has pushed me a lot. Now, as I get older, I understand that sometimes you can't win. Sometimes you can't always be the one on top, and that's okay. And this Olympic Games has taught me a lot because I'm alternate. And for trampoline, for those that don't know, it's one female that gets to go. And so this girl who's younger than me beat me out, and she was the Olympian this time. And I wanted to make sure that she had the best experience. So I never wanted her to feel bad for me. It's just like from understanding that people who don't win and then how they treat you when you do win, the feeling. And so I've always wanted to make sure that people never felt that from me, that I was always grateful to be there. I'm having fun. I love the sport, because why would I be doing a sport that I didn't love? And so I made sure that I'm a gracious loser and a gracious winner.
Yeah, I want to turn it to you being the winner, right? You've won world championships, so let's reverse it where you're the one on top. Do you have an example of a competitor that had those values and grace and the way they interacted with you when you were on top?
Yeah, my synchro partner, her name's Sarah. Yes, we won world championships, but she also competes individually. And she was my alternate for the 2020 Olympic Games. And I didn't expect anything. I had never experienced at that moment what it would be like to not make the Olympics. Every time I was lucky. Every time I went to compete for the Olympic Games, I made the Olympics. Who would have thought that? But so I didn't know how she would react. And when I made the Olympic team and I was the Olympian for 2020, and she found out that she was alternate, instead of her running away and not speaking to me, we also were rooming together at that competition. She came up to me and I told her I was sorry. And she was like, I'm so proud of you. And I just think girls aren't always the nicest. So it's really cool to see that two girls support each other and just want the best for each other, even when one is struggling and one's not. So I think about that moment a lot with Sarah, and I appreciate how much she let me live in the moment of being excited.
That's powerful. That was great. All right, so now Kids Corner section, where we've polled the audience. We found a couple of children that were very excited to ask a question to you. The first question is from Sarah from Boston. I think you've already really went into this, but I still want to ask the question because I told her I would. So question one is, what is the highest you have ever jumped?
Oh, yeah. Good question. I think I'm at 22 feet high. Now, if you asked a man, some of those guys, they're at 30, 35 feet. Kind of crazy.
That is crazy. You won't get me past 6 feet, so I am very impressed at what you do. Yeah. And then we have Jen from Providence, Rhode Island. And she asks, how can I learn how to do a flip?
That's a good question. Before you can do a flip on the trampoline, you have to do it on the ground. And I don't mean just run and jump and do a flip. There are progressions, and you can teach yourself the forward roll, It'll be easier to do a front flip than a back flip on a trampoline. So just slowly going from a forward roll to a little duck under, and then progressing yourself up to the trampoline where you jump a little bit higher. Those little progressions will get you to a front flip.
Great advice. So Nicole, your career has been absolutely astonishing. And here at Scorezle, our values are around perseverance, overcoming adversity, believing in yourself, and sportsmanship on and off the field. Which from this brief interview, it's everything you've possessed, everything that you've had throughout your journey. So with that, we'd love to invite you to the Scorezle family, and we've created a custom Scorezle card for you, which we plan on producing in our next run with your approval.
Oh, wonderful.
So just a moment here. We'd love to get your reaction. Let me pull it up for you.
Oh, you have my little quote too. Oh, I love it. Next level
Nicole.
That's awesome. Is this a good score, offense, defense?
That is a great score. That is an incredible score. I mean,
sure.
Absolutely. You are an Olympian. So that is an incredible score. And we numbered you number 3 just because you've had that belief since the age of 3, which is extremely incredible. So we would love to invite you in the family. We hope you accept.
Well, absolutely. I love it. It's awesome. Yeah, thank y'all. My mom's going to love it. She may print it out.
Well, you mentioned the quote, Nicole, and I've heard you say it. I've seen it different places. She believed she could, so she did. So how can young athletes use this belief to find their own magic from within and pursue their dreams and copy the journey that you've so successfully accomplished?
It's a good question. My mom found this quote when I was probably 8 or 9. And it was probably during a time where I did doubt myself. And I was like, do I really want to do this? Am I ready to make the full change of being 100% into trampoline? And so she told me, there's this quote, you just live by it. She believed she could, so she did. And every time I did something, even like a better skill, not just winning, just even a better skill, or I had a great day, my mom would be like, she believed she could, so she did. And so it's just something that like anytime something great happens, or when I need a little pick me up, I just think to myself, I believe in myself. If I believe in myself, what's stopping me? So I think that that's the most important aspect for anybody that's trying to go after their dreams and achieve their dreams, is you don't listen to the negativity of other people. If you believe it, then there's nothing else stopping you, because you're going to put in the work and you're going to make sure that the things that you want will happen. And if they don't, then that's okay, because you decided that there's another path for you.
That's great. Just the power of positive thoughts and believing in yourself and reaffirming that. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Nicole, I know currently you're pursuing your master's degree. So do you want to speak a little bit about what you believe to be, as your journey continues, what are some of the next steps that you're looking to accomplish within your career?
Yeah. So like I said before, I never thought school was a priority. I just always was the trampoline gymnast. But I realized more recently that, school is important. And I graduated with my undergrad from UL, University of Louisiana at Lafayette. And I was like, I think I can do more. And now I do have a boyfriend who is who got his master's. So I was like, I can't let him one up me. So I decided that I was like, I'm going to go get my master's. And I'm from California, and some of my family members have been to the University of Southern California. So I was like, this is the place I'm going to choose here. And so I always have been interested in marketing. I mean, I've been marketing myself for years. And more recently, I've decided that I've kind of liked the research aspect behind it. Like, what do the numbers mean? But I think I graduate in December, so I think that I want to start commentating, maybe sideline reporting, just something in front of the camera where I get to talk to athletes and basically do this, share experiences. So commentating for the Olympic Games is definitely high on my list.
Thanks, Nicole. And I'm sure that you will accomplish those dreams. You've already accomplished so many throughout your journey. So you have Seth and I on the sidelines applauding you, wishing you the best during that journey. And as we conclude, just like to ask you how you feel about Scorezle's mission to help young athletes build confidence and character. And what last words would you share with our community?
Yeah, I think this is a great platform, especially for kids that may be doubting themselves. This is a great place for opportunities and just a positive space for people to turn to, because I feel like there's not a lot of that in this world anymore. So it's a great mission that y'all are doing. One of the things that I do before I compete is I tell myself she believed she could, so she did, and guidance. And it's God, you and I are going to dance. And it kind of like grounds me, and it tells me like I'm leaving it up to God, and whatever happens, happens, because he's going to dance.
Nicole, thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey, your wisdom with us today. Your story is truly inspiring, and I'm sure our listeners have taken away so much from your experiences. We're excited to see what the future holds for you and wish you the best in your continued journey. On behalf of me, thank you very much. Seth, any final words for Nicole?
No, thank you so much, Nicole. Awesome interview, and thank you so much for being on the program.
Welcome to the Scorezle family, Nicole.
Oh, thank y'all. I'm excited.
To our Scorezle family, remember to take Nicole's advice to heart. Believe in yourself, stay committed, and find that magic within. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Scorezle Podcast.
Look, this that Scorezle magic, nothing average. If you can dream it, then you can have it. On and off the field, you know the deal. Keep your head in the game and you rise for real. Go feel the beat and let it flow. Tell the world, make sure they know. Just work hard, let your talent show. Can't stop where we bout to go. No. Teamwork, make the dream work. Together we achieve more, that's some real worth. With every single cheer and shout, we show them what we bout. No matter what the sport, they can't count you out. And with scores side by side, let's make a pact to win and blow they mind. No matter what we face, you know we got each other's back. In the game or in life, and it's just like that. A little bit of soul and faith is all it takes to reach the top in this game. Confidence will put you in a better place. See it through every step of the way. It's that Scorezle magic, nothing average. If you can dream it, then you can have it. On and off the field, you know the deal. Keep your head in the game and you rise for real. Go feel the beat and let it flow. Tell the world, make sure they know. Just work hard, let your talent show. Can't stop where we bout to go. No, just believe and achieve, and join the Scorezle team.